Working on the Camaro again. Now working on the trunk. So I have removed all of the frame rail material on this side. Need to cut that back still so it matches here because I'm just going to finish that flush. And I cleaned up this back, and then I used a rust converter on it. I'll just give that a wipe before I put some epoxy primer on it. After I cleaned it all up with isopropyl alcohol, and then I put the rust converter on. So then I decided where I was going to put the frame rail against the back panel here. So I'm going to put it back into the factory location. I want it to follow the floor. So this piece here running across is just here so I can clamp the frame rail. I can clamp it at the back here, and I can clamp it onto this, and that way it'll follow the original trunk pan there. And then it'll attach up to here. So it's going to come straight forward to around here somewhere and then angle across to there. So in order to make those pieces, I set my laser up with a center line, and then I marked the distance from the center line out to the frame rail on each side. And then I did the same at the back. I marked the distance from the center line out to the back. And I took those measurements. Oh, it's this way. So from my center line at the tail panel, I'm 21.25, and the center line at the frame, I'm at 15.5. And then I measured the distance from there to there, also using my laser. I have a laser with a cross line on it as well. So I made sure that the distance from here to here and here to here was exactly the same on both sides, so I knew this was straight. Then I measured from here to here is 23. So that's my total. Then I drew that up just on a piece of MDF I had here. So from the bottom here to this line is 23. That's my distance from the tail panel to here is 23. Then I calculated my offset from where the inside of this one was to the outside of that one, because that's the measurement I took, and it was 5 3/4 offset from here to here. So that made it 7 3/4 from here. So I put that line in, and then I just kind of connected the dots. Then I cleaned these up with that Eastwood, I think it's SCT. Thing's great. It takes the mill scale off really nicely. It makes it easy to weld and mark. So this has got an angle in the back. That's where it meets the tail panel. So I sat this down here. It was just long. I marked where this was. Then I just scribed all around this piece of 2x2. That gave me that angle. So now I can take another piece, put the same angle into it, and put it on here and scribe this into it. That's how it's going to finish on the front. And that should get me from the tail panel to the frame. And I'll do a mirror image one. So I've cut another one that I laid on here back to back and scribed. So this is my driver's side and this is my passenger side. So I'll get these next pieces cut, and then I'll clamp them. I have like a ground surface plate that I used when I did the front ones. I'll clamp them to that, tack them, and then let it cool, and then I'll weld them up. And I won't remove the clamps until it's completely cooled. I know it's not 100%, but it's better than not restraining it at all. Okay, so I'll get that done and I'll pick up from there. Okay, this is the next piece I'm going to be using for the pieces that join the actual frame, the existing frame. So it's got, as you can see, some rust and some paint on it. I'm going to give that a clean up. with my Eastwood, the Contour SCT, and I've used this a good bit. It needs a cleaning. So this is the pad that I have on it right now. I have a bunch of different ones when I bought it. I have this one, which was amazing for cleaning. I cleaned up inside the tail panel here, which was covered in 52, 53 years worth of junk, and I cleaned that all up, and then I put some rust converter on it because there were just a few little scaly bits that were like pitted, not really scaly. So I just wanted to get those on, and I'll give that a wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol to get the residual stuff off, and then put some epoxy primer on it. So I'll clean this up here and then I'll show you how it turns out. So that's the piece now. That is literally less than 5 minutes work. And all of the male scale is gone. And it's nice and clean. So it's easy to get a scribe line on, and much easier to weld. And it's ready for just to clean with isopropyl alcohol or acetone or something, and some epoxy primer after. So I'm gonna get it all scribed up and cut and clamped down, and then I'll show you how it goes from there.